Good afternoon, everybody. This is Professor Henshaw. I walked out of the class and I realized I probably did you all a disservice, and for that I apologize. Um, a lot of the information that we went over in class in terms of the impact of tax policy, or kind of how and why the income inequality has kind of grown in the United States in the last 40 years, keeps to some extent, or that discussion probably kept the philosophical or political philosophy of that to the background, and I wanted to make it more explicit. So, to go way back in time, ever since Adam Smith, there's a furious debate at the level of public policy over what is better for individuals, what's better for me as a selfish individual, and what's better for everybody, what's better for the nation, and then what, if anything, we owe each other. And we kind of discussed this today. So part of what the Social Democrats and then in the US, the New Deal changed was government not only got bigger, but government got into different lines of work. Government got into things like Social Security. Government got into things like eventually like Medicare. Government got into the business of subsidizing private health insurance starting in the 1940s, and we're still in that business. So in one sense, those are just liberal 19th century goals of doing something that provides a public good, or doing something that the majority of the population approves of. So if it's good for me, and me or people like me is the majority of society, then we'll have more and more of that. And then that has, in essence, has reshaped what is good for the nation and what is good for the market, because the market really changed a lot. Living standards jumped after that. So that's a pretty persuasive notion, right? Now, since the Reagan, Thatcher, and to some extent Clinton revolutions, or at least I would say in some ways Reagan and Clinton are working in the kind of Thatcherite model, the mantra is government has taken on too much, government does too much, by extension, government taxes too much. So we need to kind of have government take a step back and allow the marketplace and individuals in the marketplace to do more. That will be good for not just me, but it'll be good for everyone, because there'll be more efficient allocation of resources and more people getting rich, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we are now a good 30 to 40 years into that experiment. 1973, 74 is often used by analysts because that's about the point that incomes began to flatten. They flattened under Nixon. They kind of held steady for a while, and then they just started to go on the trajectory they are, both under Reagan but also under every subsequent president. And part of that is it isn't just driven by the tax rates. The tax rates are just one piece of it. You could get into things like the minimum wage, how the minimum wage hasn't gone up, how monies are used to subsidize college or not, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't want to drag everybody through all that because your interest in this stuff is kind of low. But as I tried to indicate, part of the economic reality that all of us live in, where many of us are sort of economically insecure, where even the number of college students who have food insecurity is at historically high levels, in some ways that is the result of these policy decisions and these philosophical decisions that we have indirectly through elections. So that's why I think this stuff is more important. I am going to send you an article, a little short video piece, which will discuss marginal tax rates, because that's something that is implicit that everybody understands through this, but based upon what people were saying in class and how they're responding, my guess is most of you still don't understand that. And so there's a good explainer out by Vox. So I'll send that along in a bit.